In the 21st century, both India and China have emerged as global economic powerhouses. However, recent trends suggest that India is developing more sustainably and adaptively than China in several key areas. While China's meteoric rise over the past few decades is undeniable, India's development trajectory now appears more promising due to a combination of economic resilience, political stability, demographic advantages, and openness to innovation. This essay will explore the various dimensions in which India is increasingly outpacing China and provide a nuanced understanding of this shift. One of the most significant factors contributing to India's growing advantage over China is its demographic composition. India has one of the youngest populations in the world, with a median age of about 28 years, while China's median age has risen to over 39. Due to its decades-long one-child policy, China is facing a rapidly aging population and a shrinking workforce, which poses major challenges to sustaining economic growth. India, on the other hand, enjoys a large, youthful, and increasingly educated labor force. This demographic dividend presents immense potential for driving consumption, innovation, and productivity. If properly harnessed through skill development and job creation, India's youth bulge could be its biggest strength in the 21st century. India's democratic system, despite its complexities and inefficiencies, provides political stability and transparency that inspire global confidence. In contrast, China's authoritarian regime under the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has led to growing mistrust, especially among Western nations. China's opaque decision-making process, aggressive foreign policy, and internal censorship have created global unease. India, as the world's largest democracy, is seen as a more reliable and transparent partner by democratic nations. This perception plays a significant role in attracting foreign direct investment, FDI, forging global partnerships, and enabling smoother integration into the global economy. While China's growth model has been primarily export-driven and dependent on heavy industry and infrastructure investment, India has adopted a more service-oriented and consumption-driven model. China's growth is now decelerating due to overcapacity, rising debt, and a sluggish property sector. India, in contrast, has managed to maintain robust GDP growth, often outpacing China in recent years. Moreover, India's digital economy is booming, with fintech, e-commerce, and IT services leading the charge. The India Stack, a set of digital infrastructure initiatives like Aadhaar, UPI, and DigiLocker, has revolutionized access to financial and government services, enhancing inclusivity and economic participation across all strata of society. China, by contrast, is facing regulatory crackdowns on tech giants, which stifles innovation. Global companies are increasingly adopting the China Plus One strategy, seeking to reduce their reliance on China due to rising labor costs, supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical tensions. India is emerging as the primary beneficiary of this shift, with initiatives like Make in India and the Production-Linked Incentive (PLI) schemes. India is positioning itself as a manufacturing hub. Multinational corporations like Apple, Samsung, and Foxconn have already begun relocating production to India. While China still holds a significant lead in manufacturing capacity, India's improving logistics, infrastructure, and labor competitiveness are narrowing the gap. India's foreign policy is marked by strategic autonomy and balanced diplomacy. As a member of the Quad, alongside the US, Japan, and Australia, India is enhancing its security and economic partnerships. Its participation in G20 and leadership in Global South discussions further bolster its diplomatic influence. China's increasingly aggressive stance in the South China Sea, along its border with India, and towards Taiwan, has isolated it from many global partners. Sanctions, tariffs, and trade restrictions from the US and EU have weakened China's global integration. India's relatively neutral yet assertive position allows it to be a bridge between East and West. India is experiencing a startup boom with over 100 unicorns and a vibrant innovation ecosystem. Government initiatives like Startup India, Digital India, and Skill India have encouraged entrepreneurship and technological adoption. India's tech talent pool, one of the largest in the world, drives innovation in AI, fintech, SaaS, and e-commerce. China, while historically dominant in technology manufacturing and platforms, is now grappling with strict government controls and internet censorship, which hamper creativity and entrepreneurial freedom. India's relatively open internet and freedom of expression in the tech sector have created a more fertile ground for innovation. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted India's capacity to handle global crises with resilience. Its production and distribution of vaccines through the Vaccine Maitri initiative showcased both its pharmaceutical prowess and humanitarian approach. India is one of the few developing nations with the ability to produce vaccines at scale and distribute them to other countries. China, though initially seen as a global supplier, later faced backlash for its handling of the pandemic, lack of transparency, and zero COVID policy, which disrupted global supply chains and domestic growth alike. India's legal system, based on common law, is more conducive to enforcing contracts, protecting intellectual property, and resolving commercial disputes, especially for foreign investors. While the system may be slow, it is perceived as impartial and predictable. In contrast, China's state-controlled judiciary often raises concerns about the rule of law, especially in international business matters. This legal assurance is crucial for global companies choosing India over China for long-term investments, joint ventures, and research partnerships. To finally conclude, India's development is not without challenges. Infrastructure bottlenecks, bureaucratic inefficiencies, and socio-economic disparities persist. However, its democratic fabric, young population, expanding middle class, vibrant technology ecosystem, and global trust make it a more adaptive and sustainable growth story than China's centrally controlled, infrastructure-heavy model. In the post-pandemic world, where resilience, openness, and adaptability define success, India is better positioned to thrive. While China may still lead in some areas of industrial capacity and infrastructure, India's inclusive, digital, and democratic development path increasingly appeals to a changing world order. If current trends persist, the 21st century may indeed be remembered not just as China's rise, but as India's long-awaited emergence on the global stage.